Welcome to the episode 3 on the Linux for hackers. In this course, we are going to explain the Linux file system and also the permissions on Linux. So the first thing we are going to do on your Linux machine is to type cd dot slash. Then we'll go to the what? The root directory. Now in this root directory, this is where everything about the Linux is stored. Literally every file and folder is stored in the root directory. So when we type ls on this, you can see a list of files. Now the files here have their uses, specific uses. So we are going to start with the bin directory. Now inside this bin directory, it contains the user binaries. And it means when I say user binaries, I mean the commands. You can see netcat here, you can see move here. All of these are commands that you execute on the terminal. So these are the binary files for those commands. Then if we leave this directory, we have the user directory. The user directory contains the user files such as the user programs and so more. So you can see that in the user directory, we have some other bin and sbin right here. Now, when we leave the user directory, we have the etc directory or the etc directory. And this etc directory, it is responsible for configurations. So the etc directory contains configuration files. So system binaries, configuration files are stored here. Now, after the etc directory, we have the home directory. The home directory contains the home files of the user. Literally, all the users are stored in the home directory. That is the user accounts that are created on this Linux machine. The files for those user accounts are stored in the home directory. So on, we have the TMP directory. So on Linux, the temporary files are stored in the TMP directory. The TMP directory contains all temporary files you can think of. That is nuclei scans, WPS scans, all of the things that you have been doing and their temporal files are being stored. They are stored in the temporal directory. When you reboot your system, all of these files will be deleted automatically. Now, the library directory or the lib directory contains essential libraries that the system uses, libraries required by the bin. All the commands that we have here, some of them rely on external libraries. Now, these libraries are stored in this directory. So you can see that we have zip right here, we have Apache 2 right here, we even have Linux as a library right here. So all the files have a use. Now the last thing we are going to learn under the Linux file system is the OPT directory. Now the OPT directory contains optional files that you have downloaded online. So you can see I installed Google on my computer and I have a Google file right here. I installed Google Chrome and the files are right here. So this is one way to be able to know your system machine. Now this is a diagram of the Linux file system. So this is the diagram of the Linux file system. You can see that the root directory stands at the top, the home, the etc, opt, boot, and all other files. Then each hierarchical structure. So this is a basic representation of the Linux file system. You see, Linux is very simple. When you understand these files and stuff, you'll be able to really customize your Linux and also perform well in penetration testing and hacking. So with that said, let's learn on the next video. That is the next topic under this video, which is Linux. There are permissions on every folder and file. So you have to have a specific type of permission before you can access a specific type of file. Permissions. Permissions are the security gates of the system. If you control them, you control access. So for instance, let's say we are going to create a file called exploit.sh. So we're going to create a file called exploit.sh. So after creating this file, we want to know what type of permission this file has. We type ls-l, then exploit.sh. Then right now, it shows the type of permissions for this file. You can see the read, write, write. And should this tag means this is a normal file. Now, there are three types of permissions on the Linux system. We have the read, we have the write, and we have the execute. So now, with understanding this, we want to be able to manipulate the permissions on a certain device. Permissions are assigned to three entities: users, groups, and others, and each can read, write, or execute. Chmod, chown, and chgrp are used to modify file permissions live and explain use cases. Now, for us to get into this chown, we have to be able to know what chmod does. So first of all, when we do ls-l, the name of the exploit.sh, you can see that we do not have an execute privilege here. We cannot execute this file. So how do we set the execute privilege on this file? We use the chmod command, then we'll then use an addition switch plus x to represent the type of permission we are now giving it. Then we'll type the name of the file. Now we'll click enter on this. Now when we type ls-l, you can now see that, when we type ls-l exploit.sh, you can now see that we have the x permission attached to it. That means we can now be able to execute the exploit.sh file. Now this is how wonderful it is. Now with the chmod, you can just type chmod 755 to give a file full control to the owner. So what we are going to do is that we type chmod, then we'll use a switch code 755, then the name of the file. Now, after typing this command, we have given the user full control over the exploit.sh file. So when we type ls-l, the name of ls-l, then exploit.sh, you can see that all permissions have been given to this specific file. Now, that is how wonderful chmod is. So, with this said, let's get into the basics. So, after understanding how to use chmod, you should be able to now change stuff. Now, it is very good as a hacker to be able to understand the file permissions on a system. So, for the ending of this video, I'm going to navigate to a directory called root. Now, inside the root directory, when I type, you can see I do not have permission to enter this folder. So when I try to cd into root, it says permission denied because I do not have the permission to go into this folder. Now, for me to have that permission, I must type sudo su, then I input the root password, then I now try and go into the root folder, then cd root, then you can see that I've now accessed the root folder, and the root folder is the root user on the system. That is it for now. Thank you for watching the video. Stay tuned for the next episode. Please like, share, and subscribe.